Yeah, Adam Silver is not gonna let there be a lockout. Adam Silver is absolutely not going to let there be a WNBA lockout. The man is already making plans.
Caitlin Clark just landed a gig that has the WNBA absolutely shook. Reports are exploding that China is making a massive offer that could make her ditch the league entirely.
Dang, dang, dang. So this is what it's come to. This is what it's come to. Adam Silver's had to come in and say, hold up. You stay right there. You stay right there. I got to break up all this fighting and all this foolishness going on. Adam Silver has had to insert himself to make sure that there's no strike, no lockout, and to ensure that there is a 2026 WNBA season with future plans to also head to.
This is where it gets insane. The WNBA front office is sweating, folks. Caitlin Clark, the undisputed face of women's basketball, has reportedly received an offer from China. So astronomical, it's being called life-changing. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. When Adam Silver himself is planning to bring WNBA games to China, you know the interest and the money are legit.
Basketball. It's symbolic of a massive business opportunity. And I got to talk to Adam Silver during a break in the game about growing this sport beyond the roughly 500 million fans the NBA already has in the country.
But this isn't just any overseas offer. This could be the offer that changes everything. Word on the street is Chinese investors working hand-in-hand with the NBA under that new multi-year deal want Caitlin Clark to headline their global women's basketball expansion series. Translation, they don't just want her to show up, they want her to represent the entire movement. We're talking sponsorships, brand deals, and appearance fees that could easily cross 8 figures. Some are even claiming she could earn more in one season overseas than in 5 full WNBA contracts combined.
Amazing fan base in China. Certainly, well, we didn't play here for several years. We never really left. I mean, our games were televised here the entire time, and interest has continued really unabated in the games themselves.
When you're looking at China and you have roughly 500 million fans, more than the population of the United States, where is your vision for the NBA in this country?
It's interesting. We announced a partnership with the China.
Let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets brutally honest. The WNBA star makes a paltry $76,000 last season, less than some NBA players make per quarter. Meanwhile, a single international event in China could pay her $500,000 for one appearance. When fans heard whispers of this China offer, the internet exploded. Half said, take it and run. The other half screamed, don't you dare leave.
NBA's second largest market. We have to get through a new CBA agreement with our players, and arguably you could say the largest market in the NBA. Have to get a new CBA with our players, but once we do, there's so much interest in women's basketball here, I think we'd love to bring a WNBA game to Macau or to mainland China. When asked when the WNBA could head to China, so...
This isn't just about money. It's about loyalty, control, and the future of women's basketball itself. China's basketball market is massive. The NBA has been rebuilding its relationship with the Chinese Basketball Association, and now Adam Silver is applying that strategy to the WNBA. He literally said last week, we have to get through a new collective bargaining agreement. But once we do, there's so much interest in women's basketball here. I think we'd love to bring a WNBA game to Macau or mainland China. That quote alone set the internet on fire. China wants her as their front page, and Adam Silver wants both.
NBA is looking to make a comeback in mainland China and testing the waters after a multi-year hiatus. This around backlash around Hong Kong's 2019 pro-democracy protests. Our contestant Brewer.
Why? Because so much interest in China means so much money for whoever's smart enough to go there first. And the first person they want? Caitlin Clark. She's already the league's MVP, the reason for record-breaking TV ratings, and the one player who can sell out arenas everywhere she goes. So of course, the Chinese sponsors want her. They see what she's worth, something the WNBA still hasn't figured out. They're not just offering a contract, they're offering a brand ambassadorship, marketing deals, and the kind of spotlight that could make her the most famous women's athlete on earth. To put it in perspective, former WNBA MVPs, who went overseas to play in China or Russia, used to make anywhere from $1 million to $2 million per year. But Caitlin Clark isn't just another MVP. She's an entire economy. Her jersey sales alone broke WNBA records before she even played a game. Her college games pulled in Super Bowl-level viewership, and her presence in the league single-handedly doubled ticket sales for multiple teams. So when China comes knocking with a blank check type offer, no one is shocked. The only question is, will she take it? Because the WNBA, and especially Commissioner Kathy Engelberg, cannot afford to lose her right now. The timing is terrible. Engelberg is already dealing with public backlash, angry players threatening a strike, and fans booing her at championship ceremonies. Now she has to worry about losing the one player keeping the entire league relevant. Yeah, that's bad, but it's also her own fault. Because if the WNBA paid its stars what they deserved, this wouldn't even be a conversation. Instead, players like Caitlin Clark have to rely on sponsorships and speaking gigs to make real money. Meanwhile, Adam Silver's over in China, securing $1 billion in partnerships and shaking hands with investors who see actual value in women's basketball. You can't make this up. Kathy Engelberg talks about growing the game. Adam Silver's out here literally expanding it across continents, and that's where the power shift becomes clear. If Caitlin Clark accepts this offer or even considers it publicly, it changes everything. Because it would send one very loud message: the WNBA doesn't control its stars anymore. They can make more money, more exposure, and more impact outside the league than inside it. That's what scares the league office the most. Because once Caitlin opens that door, every other star will start looking for one too. Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, Aja Wilson, they'd all have options. The WNBA wouldn't be the top of the mountain anymore. It would just be one of many stops on a global basketball tour. And ironically, that's exactly what Adam Silver wants long-term. His plan is to make women's basketball globalized, like the NBA did decades ago. Expand to Europe, play tournaments in Asia, create international fan bases. But here's the twist. Silver doesn't want the WNBA stars leaving the league to do it. He wants to bring the league to them. So while China's throwing bags at Caitlin Clark, Silver's behind the scenes trying to make sure that bag comes through the WNBA, instead of around it. He knows what's at stake. If Caitlin goes solo, the WNBA looks weak. If she stays and helps build this global push, everyone wins. That's the battle happening right now. Not just over money, but over control. The league wants to keep Caitlin Clark as their foundation. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Sources say this offer from China didn't just come out of nowhere. It came directly after Silver's comments about bringing the WNBA to Asia. Very soon. Within 48 hours of that statement, several major Chinese sports agencies reportedly reached out to Clark's representatives. They pitched her an opportunity to become the face of women's basketball in Asia, with a guaranteed multi-million-dollar deal that includes appearances, endorsements, and exhibition games. If true, that would make Caitlin Clark the highest-paid women's basketball player in the world. Let that sink in. Not in the WNBA, not in the US, but globally. And that's what makes this story so explosive. Because now everyone's watching. The fans, the sponsors, even the NBA. If she takes the deal, the ripple effect could be massive. You'd see more players looking overseas, more leagues trying to recruit us stars, and a WNBA scrambling to prove it can compete financially. But if she turns it down, she instantly becomes the hero of the league, the player who chose loyalty over luxury, and that would give her even more power at the negotiating table when the next CBA deal gets signed. Either way, Caitlin Clark wins. But the same can't be said for Kathy Engelberg. Because whether Clark leaves or stays, it proves how out of touch the WNBA leadership has become. Players are literally being offered life-changing money elsewhere, while the league still argues over charter flights and bonuses. That's not leadership, that's survival mode. Meanwhile, Adam Silver's over in Macau talking about how the future is global. And with or without Kathy Engelberg, he's making it happen. The only question now is, will Caitlin Clark be part of that future as a WNBA ambassador, or as the face of Chinese basketball? Because one thing's for sure, if this offer is real, it's not going away quietly. The WNBA is officially in panic mode. Because this isn't just a rumor anymore. It's turning into a full-blown reality check for the entire league. Behind closed doors, team owners and executives are reportedly scrambling. They know that if Caitlin Clark even hints at accepting this offer, the whole foundation of the WNBA could start shaking. She's not just a star, she's the star. The one holding the spotlight, the sponsors and the ratings all at once. And that's exactly why China came calling. Because let's be honest, no one over there is paying $5 million for an exhibition game between random WNBA backups. They want Caitlin Clark. They saw the viral college games. They saw the sold-out arenas. They saw her turn Indiana Fever games into must-watch events on ESPN. Now they want that same magic, but in Shanghai, Beijing, or Macau. And that's why this offer is so dangerous for Kathy Engelberg and her team. Because the truth is, the WNBA cannot match that kind of money. Not even close. Even with a new $2.2 billion media deal coming up, the league's budget still runs tight, and with players demanding bigger cuts from that revenue, there's no way they can afford $1 million player contracts overnight. So if Caitlin Clark wants to play in China, no one can really stop her. The WNBA can't ban her, they can't fine her, she's a free agent during the offseason. She could take the deal, play internationally for 6 months, and come back richer than the entire Indiana Fever roster combined. And that's the nightmare the league doesn't want. Because once she opens that door, every other top player is going to look for the same deal. Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, even Aja Wilson. They'd all start getting calls too. And suddenly, the WNBA wouldn't be the top league for women's basketball anymore. It would just be the American version of it. That's the risk, and it's not like this hasn't happened before. Decades ago, top WNBA players like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner went overseas to Russia and China for one reason: money. Back then, teams like UMMC Ekaterinburg were paying stars more in one season than they made in their entire WNBA careers. The only difference? Those deals were quiet. They weren't this public, and social media wasn't around to turn it into a worldwide story. Now it's all over Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, tagging Caitlin, and asking the same question: would you take the money? And honestly, who could blame her if she did? She's already changed women's basketball forever. She brought in millions of new fans. She made the WNBA relevant again. And yet she still earns less than what some assistant coaches make in the NBA. It's insulting. So when a Chinese team backed by NBA partners, huge brands and government support comes in offering her tens of millions, it's hard to call that anything other than an opportunity. Even Adam Silver's comments make it clear. He's planning for global growth, not just survival. He said it himself. Very soon, the WNBA will be in China. And if that's true, maybe Caitlin doesn't even have to quit. Maybe she just becomes the first face of that expansion. Maybe she's the bridge between American basketball and Asia. That would make her not just a star, but an international ambassador for the sport. But let's be real. Kathy Engelbert doesn't want that narrative. Because if Silver's global vision comes true, it makes her look even more useless than she already does. The fans already boo her during the finals. The players barely trust her, and now her biggest star might literally go overseas for a better deal. If that happens, her time as commissioner might be over, because the owners won't tolerate another PR disaster, especially one that involves losing their main draw. And that's why you're seeing all these sudden anonymous leaks coming out about how negotiations are improving and progress is being made. They're trying to calm people down. They're trying to show that the WNBA still has control of the situation, but in reality, they don't. Because right now, Caitlin Clark has all the power. Every move she makes, every post she uploads, every brand she works with, it all sets the tone for the league. She's not just a player anymore, she's the entire marketing engine. And that's exactly why China's offer is such a problem. It exposes how weak the WNBA structure really is. The league's success depends too much on one player. And when that player starts getting outside offers that the league can't match, the illusion of stability disappears. Adam Silver knows this. That's why he's stepping in quietly behind the scenes, making sure that if Caitlin does play in China, it happens under the WNBA's umbrella, not outside of it. Because Silver's no fool. He knows losing Caitlin to an independent overseas league would be a PR disaster. But turning her international journey into a WNBA global initiative, that's genius. It turns a problem into progress. It makes it look like part of the plan. And it gives Silver another win while Engelberg tries to play catch-up. Now, whether Caitlin actually takes this offer, that's still up in the air. Her camp hasn't confirmed anything yet. But the fact that this conversation is even happening tells you how much things have changed. Women's basketball isn't waiting for approval anymore. It's expanding, with or without the WNBA's permission. And if the league doesn't move fast, Caitlin Clark might be the first to prove that a single player can be bigger than the league itself. So there it is. Caitlin Clark facing the biggest offer of her career, and the WNBA facing its biggest test yet. Would you take the deal if you were her? Or would you stay and keep building the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and make sure to subscribe, because this story is just getting started.